What's up? That's my wedge. Talking about boxing today again, man. How y'all doing out there? Yeah, but anyway, I want to talk about the current affairs in boxing right now. Try to keep it authentic because, you know, I'm from the old school and really, nothing really interesting anymore. But at the same time, you know, I got to speak out. I can't be in this world and not speak out, you know. I got to be, you know, if you're here and you know the truth, you got to do something to speak out. So I'm going to speak out on this current affair we got in the heavyweight division. And you know, heavyweight's been struggling for years to try to get back on top since like Holyfield days, you know. So we got Deontay Wilder and we got Tyson Fury. I talked about them before, but now I want to talk about, they're talking about fighting each other and counseling and this and that. You know, I just really get sick of when fighters counsel fights, or they pump everybody up like they're gonna fight each other, but really they fight everybody else in the division, and then when they finally fight, they too old, or you know, they're not in their prime, and all this prime has got so popular nowadays. Everything is about a prime fighter, as if though everybody talking about prime fighters as if though, you know, being out of your prime is acceptable. You know, like, you know, how about teach the next generation how to really box so we can have some real fights and we won't have to think about these old guys out of their prime. You know, we know boxing is a short career anyway. Why we keep fighting these people so-called out of their prime? But while they're in their prime, we're gonna you know, beat them down. But then when they're out of their prime, we still want them to fight. You know, so we hanging on them old guys. But anyway, we got I got some stuff written down. I'm gonna just talk real quick to go through it about Wilder. Negative and positive. You know, I'm coming with the truth, man. I hear a lot of other videos being made by a lot of people that's really not, who never had experience in boxing, so they really, you know, or they're so pro-black or pro their culture that they won't really bend and tell the truth, you know, whether it's for them or against them. But we got Wilder. The first point I wanted to make is that, you know, he's never fought anyone. You know, all the people that he fought was, you know, no one on top dog, you know. He had one fight with Ortiz. That was supposed to be his coming out, where we can finally see him fight somebody. You know what I mean? You know, but Ortiz fight, you know, Ortiz showed to be slow, too slow. And Wilder's power showed us that it's legit. After that Ortiz fight, we saw legit power. That dude is really strong. And then we can in retrospect, look back at his fights. Then, after he beat somebody with a name, then we look back at his fights and say, oh, he was laying that power on them people. He's real. He's authentic in the power. But, you know, but he still never fought anybody. Ortiz ain't enough on your resume to make you, just to keep you in that light like he is. You know, I don't think his praise position he doesn't satisfy for that praise position. You know, he's not satisfying that position as a heavyweight millionaire anyway. Number 3, his fame can't be denied. You know, his fame can't be denied. He went through the Olympics. He did it the right way. He came up fast. Didn't even have a lot of amateur fights. You know, it's unbelievable though that he's still not living up to a authentic boxer. He's just out there fighting. You know, that's what it sums up to. You know, he didn't master the art. You know, and for him to be so successful financially and to be talked about so much in the news is unbelievable. You know, but in reality, you know, I think one of his things, just like Tyson Fury, they're big guys, so they're going to be loved. You know, even if you're a basketball player, you're not all that good. Manute Bol, if you're a big guy, you're going to be loved, and you're going to get the media. So So, you know, but he did get exposed by another big man, which is Tyson, and that's what I wanted to talk about next. One thing about Tyson is he's getting old. He's out of his prime. They're not talking about that yet. You know, once he get a loss, a real loss, then they say, oh, he's out of his prime. But, you know, it's amazing how they use this word prime so loosely. You know what I'm saying? Is either you could box or you can't. You got old men who can box. You know what I mean? Archie Moore. You know what I mean? You George Foreman. There's no such thing as no prime to the point where that's the reason you lost. So, oh, he's out of his prime, so he lost. So Floyd Mayweather beat Shane Mosley because he's out of his prime. No. Only thing you can say about somebody being older is if they too slow or their reflexes ain't all of that like it used to be, and they fought the wrong fight. So they still lost. Because you got old people who fight the right fight and they knock you out like George Foreman and Michael Moore. He fought the right fight. That's why he won. He didn't win because he was in his prime, you know. But nevertheless, number two about my man Tyson, he's not a killer, you know. He just got the big size and, you know, and, you know, that's really what his fame is built off of, his size, man. He's a real big guy, and he fights like a big guy. He's real clumsy. He's not, he can't bring it all together. He's not a short compact. He's a real loose fighter. But he learned enough boxing. He does enough authentic boxing to where he is beating a lot of these guys because of their fundamental skills. And one of those guys is Deontay Wilder. That's why he beat him, man, because he's basic skills. And he's older. Deontay Wilder would have been he would have really beat Deontay Wilder if he was a little younger. But he's older and his reflexes is really messed up. You know, he's probably big people like that have issues with their bones and joints and all that stuff. So, you know, that's about it. I want to talk about them guys. But finally, I wanted to say, boxing heavyweight is a sad condition nowadays. You know, all big guys fighting. They won't fight each other. You know, and the people that they do fight is people that came, these guys fighting, people that they fought in the amateurs or people who they fight in the gym or old legends who already did it and really out of their prime, you know. So, you know, this part one, man, I don't want to go too deep in it, you know, but I ain't going to say who going to win and all this and that, but I just wanted to say my viewpoint on this because I'm starting to see a lot of videos out here talking about Deontay Wilder as if though he's a hero and really not giving the perspective on how bad he's looking, you know, and how much he really is misrepresenting the sport. These guys with no experience, you know, getting on here making these videos about boxing, really making boxing unpopular as far as the Facebook and stuff nowadays because, you know, these guys got these big YouTube channels, spending all this money, rubbing elbows with all the boxers, but they really not helping the boxing. They're not aiding boxing to continue to grow. And we have less damages, less head damages, and more people liking the sport and getting them back in the schools and the sports complexes and the boys and girls clubs and all those places. We got people in here just trying to suck boxing dry, lying about this and that, and going with the promoter, whoever is spending the most money and paying the most money for the fights. So who's filling the seat? So, you know, I just had to make a video because all these uneducated people in here, they're learning from other boxers who, you know, who haven't been taught properly, or, you know, just so happen have been successful in their by their own right, but really don't go back into don't reflect the history, you know. And believe it or not, even in the history of boxing, there's plenty of people who don't respect or don't reflect the authentic boxing. You know, and it's probably few real gyms and few real boxers left. So, you know, I'm just speaking out for the people who know. I don't care if I get 1 million views or not, but the people who know boxing know that I'm talking the truth. Deontay Wilder, in this particular situation, the heavyweights are doomed. Heavyweights are terrible because they're trying to make a comeback, but they're basing it off of punching power and a guy who's swinging wild like a girl. You know, that's sad, you know, and they're paying him millions. And now we got one guy who's authentic, but he's older. And then you got another young guy who's big and strong, who's ready to come out, and he's knocking out a lot of people, but he's stiff as boards, and he don't have no time in boxing enough to learn how to be relaxed. He's not even composed and relaxed. He's just a big stiff board who's knocking out people he beat up in the amateurs. You know, it's really messed up. And Tyson Fury, sadly to say, he's the representative of the real boxing heavyweight. But the thing is, he's not all of that because he's so big. He's so big and lanky, he can't do all the things that he needs to do to be a real good example of boxing. He'll never be like a Mike Tyson. He'll never be even a Larry Holmes. And Larry Holmes is an awkward type of fighter, but because of his size. But Tyson Fury is a real awkward situation. But it's so bad right now that there's not many people boxing and backing up, boxing and going forward, pushing, sitting down on their punches, moving their head, keeping their hands up. So it don't... Yeah, sorry, I had to take a quick break, man. Kids bugging out. But yeah, basically I want to end this video with Tyson Fury, and he's the